Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
I promised our listening audience about 10 minutes ago, Grayson, that we were going to go the entire hour without talking about anything other than football.
Have you heard our show before?
Unfortunately, our listeners know us all too well, because the second I said that, a dozen different texters hit the text line and went, yeah, good luck with that. Oh, boy, this is basically my Friday. I'm going to be on a plane to Philly tomorrow.
Wait, you're actually flying?
I'm actually flying. This is probably the one plane flight of the year for me for a road game. Planning on driving Tennessee.
Okay.
Planning on driving Alabama.
Okay.
Planning on driving South Carolina.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Tennessee and Alabama I can get down with. Well, Tennessee. Knoxville's on the far side of Tennessee. I don't know
It is. That
is
true.
I was going to say, you're basically in South Carolina at that point.
Yeah, it's going to be a 2-day road trip, I would think, going to Tennessee and coming back.
See, that's one I just budget a flight for.
You know what? We may wind up doing that. We may. Who knows? By the time South Carolina rolls around in October, it's also going to be the type of thing where my emotions about covering this team are probably going to go a long way towards dictating what the travel plans look like. Man, that's why I said that's the very first thing I said on Monday, coming back on air after Oklahoma beat Michigan, was, man, this team's going to be fun to cover again. Because I can't describe to you how miserable of an experience it is and was a season ago to have to go on the road to places like Oxford, Mississippi, and Columbia, Missouri, and just know that, not necessarily know that they were going to lose, but just kind of have that, oh boy, here we go again type of feeling every single Saturday.
But it's not like you went into those games thinking Oklahoma was going to get its ass kicked.
No, certainly not. It was just going to be, the feeling was more.
They still should have beaten Missouri.
Yeah, and that you can argue that they could have beaten Ole Miss as well.
Exactly.
But it was more just, regardless of what happens, this is going to be really ugly. And it always was. It always was.
But this year you're going, to Knoxville, you're going to Columbus, and you're like, hey, we got just as much of a shot of winning this game as the other team does.
Mark in Fort Worth says, I'll see you at that Tennessee game, Parker. Hey, I'm looking forward to it. My dad called me earlier this week and said he's going to be at the Tennessee game as well. I guess he's going to be in the state for some conference that week, and somehow he managed to score tickets to the Tennessee game. I don't know how long it's been since he saw an OU football game in person, but Neyland Stadium is the place to be. Is that first weekend in November, if I'm not mistaken?
So it could be cold, too, potentially.
It could be as well, certainly. A listener in the 719, where is that? 719, that's Colorado, says, Okies always be like, why would I fly when it's only a 16-hour drive? I mean, hey, I know there are varying opinions on this. That's fine. We don't all have to agree. To me, it's just far more convenient to drive within reason than it is to fly.
You push the bounds of within reason, though.
Sure, no doubt. Like, for instance, I'm not going to Philly. Driving to Philly would be, 20-plus hours on the road? That's just not worth it. But if it's a trip I can make in 2 days, and I can have my car with me when I get there, and I can pack freely without having to worry about weight restrictions on baggage or the TSA breaking my camera, then, from my standpoint at least, it makes a lot more sense to drive than to fly, logistically. And I don't mind being on the road. John in Ada says, I know Locked In is primarily football recruiting, but Patty Gasso just hit us with a go boomer 10 minutes ago. Any info on this? Well, John, here's what I know. Patty Gasso and the softball program had 4 or 5 elite, like top 10 national recruits in this past weekend. So that commitment could be any of them. And again, I don't know. I don't follow softball recruiting closely enough to know names, but I know they had a huge recruiting weekend over this past Saturday, just as the football program did, and they were expecting to get multiple commitments out of it.
Speaking of Patty's squad, I will be seeing one of her commits, Keegan Baker, for Edmond Memorial tonight. I'll be calling Norman North and Edmond Memorial for KRF Sports TV.
How good is Keegan Baker? Share some insight.
She has an ERA lower than 1.
That's pretty good.
I
would say that's OU good.
Batting average against is 133. Need I say any more?
Ron, the old truck driver, says Philly's a 2-day drive easy. Bama's a 1-day drive, and so is Knoxville. I would probably drive South Carolina in 1 day, but that one could be a 2-day drive. Well, Ron, you are an old truck driver, so while I don't question that you could make the drive to South Carolina in 1 day, I don't know that I have it in me. I'm probably going to have to stop and sleep at some point. We'll have to find a halfway point. Gunny Stutzman Army says, I've driven from Fargo to Houston in 2 days.
How the hell did you do that?
That's a trek, man. Feasible, though. I can see how that would be feasible. You're probably stopping in Kansas City?
You would think.
Somewhere in Kansas. Somewhere in Kansas is probably the halfway point.
That just doesn't sound fun to me, though. Being on the road that
Just
long.
throw on a podcast you enjoy.
But
Good playlist.
But there's only so many, and there's only so much songs.
It's a lot easier to do when you aren't alone, either. If you're doing it alone, yeah, that could kind of be miserable, but
you usually travel with all the OU Insider dudes.
That's
don't you?
correct.
Okay, that
yes.
makes a lot more
We got a
sense.
road trip squad. We got a road trip squad. A 918 listener asks, is Temple being overlooked? And this has been a more popular question than I thought it would be throughout the week, Grayson Singleton. In fact, the line has moved, and moved pretty substantially since Monday.
In Temple's direction.
Yeah, I believe Oklahoma opened as a 26-point favorite.
That's correct.
The line is down to 21.5, which, okay, Oklahoma's still a 20-plus point underdog. Does it really change the overarching opinion of what's going to happen in this football game? Maybe not, but notable that the line has moved that much, especially when from the OU side of things. Grayson, doesn't really feel like anything has changed throughout the week.
No. I mean, I think this says a lot more about Temple. But also, keep in mind, the lines move in reaction to what the betting activity is. So, Vegas's feeling on, the two football teams can stay stagnant, but the lines still move because Vegas is in it to make Vegas some money. So, yeah, you have to take that grain of salt. But, I mean, this is a team that can throw it around and, they're gonna play. I don't expect Temple to come out with the same hyper-conservative game plan that Illinois State did. Illinois State came out and was like, yeah, we can't beat these dudes, so we're just going to try not to make ourselves look like fools while being on the field. I expect Temple to at least to attempt to try to do some things against Oklahoma, and maybe that keeps them in the game. But, I mean, in their 2 games against UMass and Howard, they've eclipsed 40 points, and in the process allowed 17 points combined. So, I mean, it's a functional football team. So, you know what? Let's see what they can bring.
And here's the reality. Casey Keeler, their new head coach, he can coach some ball.
Yes.
He's had a lot of success no matter where he's been. Had a lot of success. I have no doubt that he's going to be successful at Temple. What does successful at Temple look like? Definitions may vary.
Do you have to get to where Matt Rule got them before he got the Baylor job?
Yeah, well, and I just that is the bar, right?
Right.
At least in the 21st century at Temple, what Matt Rule did there is the bar. But as of right now, this is a program that has gone 3-9 4 consecutive seasons.
Exactly.
So that is the standard. The standard at Temple is 3-9. Good on Casey Keeler. He's already 1 win away from hitting the standard.
Say 2/3 of the way there.
But both things can be true and are, right? Casey Keeler is a great football coach, and it's year 1 for him at Temple. And as anyone that watched OU football in 2022 knows, it's not just about having a competent coaching staff. You've got to have the bodies as well. You've got to have the Jimmies and Joes. You've got to have the athletes. Does Temple have a good enough roster? Can Temple have a good enough roster in year 1 of the Casey Keeler era to orchestrate such a drastic turnaround that they're giving Oklahoma a game on their home turf at Lincoln Financial Field? It's not my expectation. Again, I think Keeler will have success at Temple. I think he will get that program back to bowl eligibility on a perennial basis. I don't think they play with Oklahoma this weekend because much as we had the same discussion a couple of weeks ago with regard to Illinois State, which is a good FCS program, they are at a deficiency at all 22 positions against Oklahoma.
Well, yeah.
Oklahoma is going to have a better athlete matched up with Temple at every single one of the 22 positions on the football field.
I mean, no doubt. Here's what I will say about Temple, though. They handle their business against their competition. They're averaging 6 yards per carry this year on 87 carries. Evan Simon, their quarterback, has yet to throw a pick. So, and that's going up against a defense that hasn't forced quarterbacks to make mistakes so far this year, at least in the terms of takeaways. So, look, I'm not saying Temple's going to play with Oklahoma. I wholly expect Oklahoma to cover the 21.5. God forbid if it kept moving toward Temple. I feel like that's just easier and easier money because I don't expect this to be much of a contest. But, you know, if you're the players in this situation, got to take them seriously. You can't just show up and, you know, half-ass this thing against them because, I mean, they'll be able to make you pay. And if there's anything that we've learned about, you know, how these rankings work and stuff, even if you win, if you don't look great doing it against a far inferior team, you know, people will start looking at you sideways.
Here's what I want to see from Oklahoma on Saturday. I want to see this team start fast.
Yeah.
I want to see this team come out with the pedal on the metal because you can afford to start slow against Temple and still win the football game handily.
Yes.
When you are far superior to your opponent just in terms of sheer raw talent on your roster, you can afford to start slow. Oklahoma doesn't need to start fast in order to win the football game and cover the spread in the process. But that, to me, is going to go a long way because it's going to give us a sense of whether this OU team in 2025 is different. If you start slow, if you sleepwalk out of the gate against Temple in your first road test of the season, East Coast 11 a.m. kickoff, maybe you're a little bit jet lagged, I don't know, a little sluggish coming out. Regardless, if that's what we see from Oklahoma, then regardless of what the final score is, I'm going to have some concerns about this team moving forward because to a certain extent, that will validate the suspicion that this team is not capable of keeping the intensity up coming off the emotional high of a hard-fought victory against an elite opponent in the Michigan Wolverines. And as I've discussed, we've seen this theme play out every single year of the Brent Venables era to this point. 2022 after Nebraska, they lost 3 straight. 2023 against Texas, they had to survive. Kendall Dolby had to knock down a 2-point conversion attempt in order for them to survive against UCF on their home field. Then they lost the next 2. Last year, they come out thump Alabama. Thump them on their home field. Owen Field was electric. Everybody that was there will remember it for the rest of their lives. The fans stormed the field that night. What happens thereafter? Oklahoma goes to Baton Rouge, loses in one-sided fashion to LSU.
Well, there's not really any shame in that. LSU was top to bottom a better team.
No doubt, but then, of course, you go and lose the Armed Forces Bowl to Navy. So, to me, if Oklahoma comes out and it is clear from the first few possessions of the game that they are still on their P's and Q's after the emotional high of last week's win, that is where I'll start to get really optimistic about this football team.
Yeah, no,
where they can go.
I 100% agree because if you show that you have at least have the ability to be sleepwalking into games, if you show that that's even an option, who knows when that can come back later on in the season. You got to keep that same detailed focus. It's easy to do it against Michigan. It's easy to do it when you host Auburn because of all the storylines flying around. But can you do it when you're going up against a team like Temple? And here's what I look at these games as. Are you going to beat this team for a reason other than our name is Oklahoma and yours is Temple? That's how I look. That's how I look at that.
Captain Willard says, I'm more concerned about that dang concrete and outdoor carpet hurting our guys than Temple. Is Lincoln Financial Field, is that artificial turf?
Yes. I think so.
Oh, man. I despise artificial turf. You know what else I despise? Domes.
Okay, you and I differ on that one.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
What does that mean?
I understand I have more of an old school perspective on these types of things.
Oh yeah, and by the way, can we talk about those old Tampa Bay Buccaneers uniforms?
The creamsicles?
Yes. If they wear them once or twice a year, great. If they wear them more, no. Those uniforms are hideous.
Yeah, you and I are in lockstep on that one.
Okay.
Can't be the primary look.
Yeah, no. Those are horrible.
Nice on throwback day. Not so nice as your primary scheme. Football is an outdoor sport that is meant to be played on natural grass as the Lord intended. That's my take. Do away with field turf. Does anybody still use AstroTurf?
I don't know.
Field turf is the thing these days. And now I guess they're transitioning from, they're not using recycled tires anymore as the filler.
No, they're not.
It's the, what do they call it?
By the way, two-star Puerto Rican Sooner says it is grass up there. At the
Oh,
link.
it is grass?
I think you know what? It is grass up there at the link.
Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. We still, like, for instance, I guess I didn't realize that the Bills were building a new stadium until I watched Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, right across the street.
Yeah. You have Ralph Wilson Stadium, or what they used to call Ralph Wilson Stadium, with the new Highmark Stadium just across the street being built, and it's a dome.
Yeah, they're building.
Man.
They're building a dome. Denver's building a dome. Which, by the way, the bill being completely footed by the ownership group.
We're not going to see snow games anymore. Those are going to become a thing of the past.
Nah, we'll still see because Lambeau's not going nowhere. I guess
that's true.
I guess the Bears are going to build a stadium at some point whenever that fiasco gets settled.
The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Green Bay Packers are the last bastions of environmental integrity that the game possesses.
Well, you still got MetLife, it's MetLife that has that dangerous turf.
Yes.
That hurts everybody. Philadelphia, I don't think is going anywhere.
Yeah, I guess it shouldn't.
You still got, the link's not going anywhere. Cleveland's probably not going anywhere, I don't think.
Outdoor natural grass stadiums are slowly disappearing. And this is not a trend I enjoy.
As somebody who chronically plays fantasy football and less chronically bets on football, I hate snow games because it's hard to bet them.
By the way, a couple listeners have said the new Buffalo Stadium isn't a dome. It's not?
It's not?
Really? Okay. I'm clearly uninformed on this whole
because I completely thought it was.
Yeah, looking at just the structure that's in place right now as they start to build it out, it looks for all the world like they're making it into a dome. Okay, bless the Buffalo Bills. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
I still don't get how that many people go shirtless out there, man. It's cold as hell.
Ferris from Hong Kong says the new Bills Stadium isn't going to be a dome. It's just got a huge canopy. Okay, that makes some sense.
So kind of like the Miami Stadium.
I can rock with this. We must preserve the environmental integrity of our great game. 405-651-3439.
I've got a question for you after the break then.
That is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Once again, 405-651-3439. Some of your finest road trip stories on the other side, as well as more OU football talk, because that's primarily what we do here. Keep it here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
This is Mark Van Hoos, owner of Van Hoos Fence. Van Hoos Fence has years of experience and proven superior performance, kind of like a certain head ball coach.
We know Van Hoos Fence offers the best value and service for your residential, commercial, or sports fencing needs. Whether it's a new install or repair work, let Mark and his team at Van Hoos Fence be your trusted resource.
Call us today at 405-735-1167.
Save yourself from Googling it up. Go to vhfence.com. They will work with you in a great way.
We all play a role in keeping our communities safe. Oklahoma is no stranger to attacks. It's now easier than ever. If you see something, say something. The free and anonymous Protect OK app allows instant reporting of suspicious activity, both in schools and the community. You can help keep your family and friends safe.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Download the Protect OK app today in the Apple app or Google Play stores. Funded by the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security.
For the professional, it's not enough to just possess knowledge. That's why at GMC, we seek to refine it, to wield its power, to redefine its boundaries, while pushing the limits. And we put this knowledge to the test in every GMC Sierra by engineering each one to outperform your expectations. So you know you're getting precision and durability when you need it most. And that's what makes the GMC Sierra the truck worth knowing. We are professional grade. See your Oklahoma GMC dealers.
This is Peggy Doviak of DM Wealth Management. And just like in a football game, your special teams will make or break the success of your financial plan. First, you need to have a good CPA to help you with your taxes. Then you need an estate attorney to help you put together your estate documents. And finally, you need a certified financial planner practitioner to help you make a plan. We'd love to help you plan your prosperity. Check us out at dmwealth.com.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Mathew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
Would you like to play a more active role in your health? At Hightower Clinical, we believe all Oklahomans should have access to new potential treatment options through clinical trial participation. Our team wants to support you with the best care possible through clinical trials. No health insurance is required. Compensation is available for eligible study participants, and study care is provided at no cost.
Having the chance to go through a trial and find out if something works for them and makes their life easier, I would recommend them do it.
To learn more, scan this QR code and visit our website.
A happy place comes in many colors. One that leaves you feeling refreshed. Something that gets you all fired up. Or gives you the space to chill. Whatever your color, bring happiness home with CertaPro Painters and make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
As we wonder why our kids are struggling, someone is getting bullied. As we discuss how to improve their mental health, someone is being harassed on social media. As we wonder why they're skipping school, someone is crying themselves to sleep. Knowing the signs is the best way to prevent bullying.
Please just leave me alone.
Learn the signs at sandyhookpromise.org.
Parker Thune, Grayson, Singleton here with you on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. This is Locked In. Reformed Homer hit us up on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line and said, "The Bigsby Spartans will never build a dome." Amen to that.
I wouldn't put it past them.
If nothing else, we will always have Oklahoma high school football.
Some of my people down there in Texas, and I'm kind of half joking with this and half not, when do we see one of those high schools in Texas build a dome?
Oh, I have no doubt it's coming at some point.
Oh, yeah.
I have no doubt it's coming at some point. It's just a matter of who's going to have enough money, who's going to accumulate enough money to pull the trigger on it first.
You know what my question to you was going to be, since you hate football in domes?
What's that?
What do you think about baseball in domes?
I feel the exact same way.
Do you really?
Yeah. Baseball doesn't belong in domes. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Basketball is a sport that's meant to be played indoors. Baseball and football.
Kidding.
Baseball and football, keep the roof off. Please and thank you.
Even though baseball gets rained out all the time.
Doesn't get rained out all the time.
Not all the time, but there's a decent
every
amount
so
of it.
often. Somebody sent me this. Thought this is a helpful Twitter thread. A helpful Twitter thread from one of the OU Twitter folks. Gambling 101, a thread.
Okay, let's do it.
Line opened at OU minus 26.5 on September 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Books thought OU would dominate, or that's what the early pricing suggested. Quickly afterwards, same night, We saw the line drop, 26.5 to 25.5 to 24.5 within a few hours. That's sharp early movement. It means there was heavy action on Temple early.
Mm-hmm.
Over the next couple of days, it kept drifting down, 23.5, 22.5, eventually 21.5. That suggests books responding to continued demand/liability on the OU side or perceived overbet value favoring Temple. Once it hit around minus 21.5, the market more or less stabilized with minor back and forth. That's classic books find a number they like. Too much sharp money on one side at higher lines meant risk was too high. So why is big money on OU now? Because after the early drop from OU minus 26.5 to minus 21.5, there's perceived value. Owning OU at 21.5, or minus 21.5, I should say, after seeing aggressive drops, means you think the book overreacted or that OU is still undervalued. Large bettors see that and jump in. Books know this, but once the line drops past certain thresholds, risk for them goes down, so they're more comfortable. Bottom line, early sharp money pushed the line down. Later, more money came on OU, but after the line had already been brought down by the books to mitigate risk. That's why even though the public or large bettors show on OU now, the line moved downward. So there you go. There's your crash course on sports gambling for the day.
Is that basically not what I just said in the first segment?
Frankly, I'm sure it is, but that was more idiot-proof for people like me.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you don't.
When it comes to betting, I am an idiot. So that was a very helpful idiot-proof little manual there.
No, yeah. I mean, and it's right. And ultimately, it is about where you find value in a particular line. And also, I mean, there's some lines like the 26.5. I probably would still have felt comfortable laying the points with Oklahoma, but 21.5. Oh, you don't have to talk to me twice about that.
Jimmy Edmonds says, for this game, I just want to see them be in control of the game. I am sure they will run a lot and try to work the line. I am hoping to see them use the run better, maybe win like 41-6. I'm curious to see how OU attacks this one because, for instance, against Illinois State, the Sooners kept it pretty ho-hum.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they were in control, start to finish. There was never any question about that. But it wasn't as if they were trying to generate chunk plays, especially through the air. It wasn't as if they were taking shots, doing their best to string together quick strike touchdown drives, the way that they very well could against a team like Illinois State or a team like Temple, for that matter. They were content to play things a little bit more methodically, which is kind of why, from a betting perspective, not that I'm betting on the game anyway, but if I was, even at that 21.5 number, I don't know that I would be quite comfortable laying money down.
I'm comfortable with the 21.5. Now, I will say this. The Illinois State game was a disaster for bettors. It was an absolute disaster. Like, a friend of mine, we're talking about taking OU minus the first half points, but I believe was 24.5, and it was very clear that OU was not going to cover the 24.5 by halftime. So, like, that game was, and I'm so glad I stayed away from that line too, but boy, that Illinois State game was bad for bettors. But I do agree with you on this. Here's what I want to see. Because Oklahoma didn't really do it against Illinois State, but I would like to see them do it against a better Temple team, I think. Can you dominate at the lines? On offense, can you move dudes backwards and reestablish the line of scrimmage? And on defense, can you make it more apparent? Yeah, because you have to go back and look and think. It's like, okay, this defensive line wasn't that bad against Illinois State. But can you make it apparent to the naked eye in that particular moment in time that you aren't getting moved by the Temple offensive line? That's one of those things that I always look for when it's a Power 4 team against a team like a Temple or an Illinois State.
A couple of fantastic road trip stories from our listeners. 4 or 5 listeners says, I drove from Fayetteville, Arkansas to Reno, Nevada, straight through for 30 hours. Got to Nebraska as the sun was going down and out of Nebraska as the sun was coming up.
Wow.
We'll never do that again. Yeah, if you're driving through Nebraska horizontally, that's a lengthy haul there. I'm surprised you went all the way up through Nebraska. I would think that you would have wound up going through Kansas and then through Denver on the way out to Reno. But I've never made that drive before, so I don't know the logistics of it. But there was a listener that said, Rocket Sooner, it said, made it from the Badlands to Waxahachie in a day back in 2021. Got the OU to the SEC news somewhere in Nebraska/Kansas. Good times.
Oh, that's a memorable trip.
That was one of those days you'll never really forget where you were when that news dropped. I guess you were in college at Oklahoma State at the time, so.
Yeah, I remember us talking about it, and I remember talking to Dave Hunziker about it a couple of days later, the play-by-play voice of the
Ever
Cowboys.
been bowling with him?
I've never been bowling with him.
For your sake, that's probably for the best.
Yeah, he probably could teach me a lot of things, I'll tell you that, based on my last performance.
That is true. He's got, what, couple 200 or 300 games under his belt?
Mm-hmm. No, Dave can really bowl.
It's a serious bowler right there.
Mm-hmm.
Recruiting Boomer says, I put some substantial money on the minus 21.5. Good on you. I don't know if I like it. Doesn't this set up as kind of like the game that Oklahoma will wind up winning by 21?
What's the return on that, by the way? To that texter that laid all that money on there. What's the return on that? I'm curious. The payout.
Let us know, Recruiting Boomer. Boomer Bryce says, I don't care if we win by 21. I don't care if we win by 100. I just need to see 0 mistakes/turnovers from the special teams. That'll probably lose you the game the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And again, it's another one of those weeks where you hope you have the little things down pat. You hope you see this Oklahoma team execute the little things effectively. Because the Sooners did do all the big things right, for the most part, against Michigan a week ago. They did not do some of the little things right, particularly on special teams. Didn't cost them against Michigan, which, as Brent Venables said in the aftermath, it's good that we got to have that learning experience in a win as opposed to a loss.
Yep.
It's probably not going to cost you against Temple, but
it would be 2 games in a row if that happened.
You'd like to believe that by the time SEC play rolls around, you have all of those special teams kinks ironed out, and it's just muscle memory for your guys.
Yes.
Muscle memory. Because how many games swung on special teams last year for Oklahoma? I can think of at least one right off the dome, Auburn. And it wasn't Oklahoma that made the special teams mistakes in that game. It was Auburn. Towns Magoo missed 3 field goals in that football game.
Yep.
Towns Magoo couldn't hit the broadside of a barn that day, which apparently was not out of the ordinary for him. He came across my Twitter feed yesterday because I guess he's in a kicker competition down there at Auburn now.
Oh, he's still there?
Yeah, he's still there. Apparently he was a true freshman last year. So apparently he's a career 5 for 13 on field goal attempts.
Okay. Stop right there. How in the hell is this a competition? They ain't got nobody better than that?
To be fair, Oklahoma was in a similar situation at one point, at multiple points in the not-too-distant past.
I don't care. And I know kicking is not the easiest thing in the world, but 5 for 13 and you're still in a competition? Dear God.
U.S. Army Sooner says, I drove from Fayetteville, North Carolina to Edmond, Oklahoma with my pregnant wife, 3-year-old daughter, 1 dachshund, and 2 cockatiels in 1996. Straight through 22 hours, never again. U.S. Army Sooner, I think you were the first person that I have ever heard of that has road tripped with cockatiels and a dachshund in the same vehicle. That is a unique combination.
I'm curious what your first words were when you stepped out of the car when you got home.
Whatever his first words were, he had to hear them another 2 times because the cockatiels repeated them. Do they do that? Do cockatiels repeat what you say?
Papa Boganowski said, used to push Las Cruces to Omaha in 1 day easily. Hey, I like Las Cruces. I was there 3 summers ago. My family took a vacation there.
Really?
To Las Cruces, New Mexico. Yeah. Also went to White Sands National Park, which was
White Sands
awesome.
is amazing.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. Yukon Bob says, made the trip from Yukon, Oklahoma to Northfield, Minnesota. Hello. For my son's football games 2 years in a row nonstop. Could never get under 11 and a half hours. Props to you, UConn Bob. That's about the limit for me in a day. Anything over 11 hours, and I'm getting close to tapping out.
You're better than me. I don't like it. I don't like drives longer than, 6 to 8 hours. My family drove from the Northeast DFW Metroplex to Las Cruces. That was about a 10, 11-hour drive, and that was not fun.
405 Taylor says, Parker, any update on Michael Fasusi and Gentry Williams? Both of those guys are fine, to be clear. I don't know how much you see them this weekend, just because you don't necessarily want to risk aggravating anything with those two because they are cornerstones. Michael Fasusi, a cornerstone of your offensive line at the left tackle position. Gentry Williams, a cornerstone of your entire defense out there at the cornerback position. So I would imagine that they make an effort to ensure that Fasusi and Gentry get some rest, get a breather where they can, and don't have to play every single snap of the football game, which they shouldn't have to anyway, but those are two guys that, for instance, you could see Oklahoma pulling them before the rest of the first-teamers come out, I guess is what I'm saying.
So are they going to suit up and play?
As far as I know, yes. Making the trip, playing. We'll see what happens between now and Saturday. But the prognosis for both of those guys in the immediate aftermath of the game Saturday and certainly on into Monday and Tuesday were they're good. This is not something that like the issues that they're dealing with physically, their respective injuries, not things that are going to keep them legitimately sidelined. So, Gentry, Fasusi, they should be all right.
580 listener wants to know, is there any update on Sexton?
Don't expect Sexton back this week. Don't expect Sexton back this month. Probably going to be a little while for Jacob Sexton. So, it's the Fasusi show at left tackle. Fortunately, you do have a couple of really capable swing tackles in Luke Buklenko and Logan Howland that allow you some flexibility. It is Fasusi on one side, Derek Simmons on the other for the time being. But if either of those guys were to encounter injury, or let's say Fasusi gets a little bit dinged up, a little further dinged up against Temple, you could realistically throw either Buklenko or Howland in there at left tackle, and you're going to be okay, at least in the short term.
Here's a recruiting question. Futurist Josh asks, are Gross and Ford staying with Florida, and why?
For the moment, yes. They're staying with Florida, and the reason being is because Billy Napier's not fired yet. Yep, Florida's 1-1. Yep, they lost to USF last week, but let's harken back to last September. We all were firing Billy Napier, justifiably so.
Before the season started.
But certainly at the, 3-4 games into the season, we all were under the impression, okay, it's a matter of when, not if, Florida dismisses Billy Napier. But Florida turned that season around. Billy Napier turned that season around. So I understand that Gross and Ford being committed to Florida, like you're probably licking your chops at that if you're an OU fan, figuring, oh, those guys are going to be back on the market at some point. We'll be able to make a second run at them. Let's not count your chickens before they hatch. Cross that bridge when we get there, type of deal.
And Josh Pate was on Get Up this morning, and he thinks Florida can hang with and potentially beat LSU this weekend.
Wouldn't that be wild?
That would be wild.
Lose to South Florida at home one weekend, then go to Baton Rouge the next, and beat LSU, number 3 LSU. That's life in the SEC, though, folks.
If South Florida beats Miami this week, they have the best resume in college football to this point in time. Wins over Boise State, Florida, and Miami.
That's got to be a top 10. Like, if they beat Miami, that's got to be a top 10 team.
They got to be a top 10 team.
Got to be. No question about it. Most impressive resume in the country through 3 weeks if they beat Miami this weekend. Never thought we'd be even having that hypothetical conversation about the University of South Florida.
Oh, no. If we threw that out there a month ago, you would have thought you and I were on some kind of wild drug.
405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. One more segment of Locked In on the other side. Keep it here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Dustin Dvorak here. Do you eat, sleep, and breathe football? KREF is the only place for the most comprehensive daily analysis of Sooner and college football. We are the football experts. We're the home of Sooner fans. Download the KREF app and listen from anywhere.
Don't miss out on OKC's hottest entertainment at the Showplace Theater with acts like
Bret Michaels, September 27th. Collective Soul, October 17th. And the Oak Ridge Boys, November 28th.
Riverwind is OKC's favorite casino experience.
There's never a perfect moment to talk to your kids about the dangers of tobacco. So, how about right now? We're giving you the rest of this ad time so you can talk with your kids. Not quite ready? Find everything you'll need to start the conversation at talkabouttobacco.com. Brought to you by TSET.
Hey, this is Chris Kerber, and let's go Blues. Kick off the St. Louis Blues 25-26 season on Friday, September 19th at Busch Stadium as the Cardinals face the Brewers. With the purchase of a special themed ticket, fans will take home a limited edition Cardinals and Blues themed jersey hoodie. And that's not all. Don't miss the pregame pep rally at Budweiser Terrace with a performance from the St. Boogie Brass Band. Let's bring the Blues to Busch. Visit cardinals.com/theme for all the details.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. People with disabilities are extremely talented, resilient problem solvers that have so much to offer. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours.
Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
Introducing Janiking, the greatest team to ever clean. We take pride in maintaining spotless environments, allowing local businesses to shine better than ever before. With our cutting-edge technology and expert team, we ensure every nook and cranny is pristine at Oklahoma Memorial Stadium. That's right, Janiking is proud to be a partner of OU football and OU athletics. For commercial cleaning services, go to janiking.com. That's JANIKING.com. Janiking, the king of clean, and go Sooners.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Football is finally back in Norman. Whether you're just after a quick pickup or feeding the whole team, Chick-fil-A on 12th Avenue has you covered. With dine-in, drive-thru, and delivery options on any size order, we've got no problem taking it all the way to the house. In fact, it would be our pleasure. Try fueling up at your next tailgate with a pretzel cheddar club or cool down with the seasonal cherry berry drinks. Call the 12th Avenue Chick-fil-A at 405-310-3189 or use the Chick-fil-A One app. And remember to eat more chicken. Thanks for being with us on this Thursday installment of Locked In. Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton with you here on the Ref, the home of Sooner fans. The show brought to you today and every day by Dorsey Jones GMC in El Reno. If you're on the hunt for a new vehicle, why not a GMC? GMC offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today. And Dorsey Jones doesn't just have you covered as far as a new vehicle is concerned. They can also help you out with service for your existing vehicle, including half-price oil changes on Saturdays. Dorsey Jones in El Reno is your one-stop shop. Again, the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, if you want to interact with us as we close out the show here, 405-651-3439. 50-year-old mistake on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line says, Jacob Sexton seems to get hurt about 3 minutes into action every single time. Guy has horrible luck. And, man, that is true, isn't it? If you think back on everything Jacob Sexton has endured, he started the final game of his true freshman season, the Cheez-It Bowl against Florida State, tore his ACL on the first snap of the game. Well, actually, as I understand, he actually tore it in pregame warm-ups, tried to play on it, and then got bulldozed on the very first snap of the game, and they got him off the field at that point because they realized something was seriously wrong. But that cost him the first portion of the 2023 season. He wound up working his way back into the lineup by season's end, played pretty well. 2024 comes around. He was dealing with injuries all year.
Mm-hmm.
He was never quite healthy, but he toughed it out for the first 8 games of the season. Started at left tackle, started at left guard for Oklahoma, played more left guard than left tackle out of necessity because Oklahoma had no other guards that were ready to play that position. Heath Ozida had to get thrown into the fire after Sexton's injury against Ole Miss. And I guess he had played a little bit before then, but that's when he became the full-time left guard for OU. And then week 1 of the 2025 season, he's hurt again, missed game 2. He's going to miss game 3, and as I understand it, he's probably going to be out for a while. So, man, it is tough to watch all of that unfold for a kid that grew up in Edmond, Oklahoma, always kind of wanted to be a Sooner. It was always kind of clear as soon as he got the offer that he was going to wind up a Sooner. And when he's been healthy and active and 100% of himself, he's been a really solid player for the University of Oklahoma. But his absence has certainly opened the door now for Michael Fasusi. And the early indications, based on what we saw last weekend against Michigan, is that Fasusi is capable of holding things down in the meantime. For however long Sexton is out, and perhaps even thereafter, man, like especially with how much chemistry is required on the offensive line in order to operate at peak effectiveness, at a certain point, even if Jacob Sexton does get healthy again, you just let Michael Fasusi roll. I think there's going to be plenty in support of that if he keeps playing well.
Especially if it coincides with winning. And the offense at critical junctures in the game are not held back by having Michael Fasusi at left tackle. I do think that the right move would be, like, let's just say Jacob Sexton misses 5 more weeks. I'm just throwing just an arbitrary number out there right now. And Oklahoma wins all but, let's just say, one of those games. The offense looks good. We don't talk about Fasusi on broadcast very much, and usually if you're an offensive lineman, that's a good thing. I don't see how you take him out. I just don't, especially with the point that you just made. Offensive line is based on continuity and chemistry. Why mess it up? I know Sexton's been a mainstay within that room for years now, but everybody's been used to work with Fasusi. Fasusi speaking the language now, and so on and so forth. Man, I think you got to roll with him.
And that was, I mean, let's call a spade here. Oklahoma's offensive line this past Saturday against Michigan played the best game we've seen from an Oklahoma offensive line in at least 2 years. Probably longer. Offhand, there's not a game that jumps out at me in the Brent Venables era. I think, well, maybe Alabama last year, I guess. But even that was just so heavily slanted towards the run.
Mm-hmm.
That group was fantastic in pass protection as well. Oklahoma kept it balanced on the offensive side of the ball, and at every juncture, the offensive line was dominant against that Michigan front. I would venture to say that it was the most impressive offensive line performance of the Brent Venables era. And so, as long as the line is looking like that, I don't really think you mess with it, man. Slim Brady says, I can't wait until we get that 338 segment with Owen Heineke on the rush after he replaces the 444 segment with the boss. You figure to see a lot of Owen Heineke this weekend, I would think.
You would think.
Yeah, it's one of those guys where, maybe you have Kip Lewis on a snap count, especially if the game is going according to script. You're probably having a guy like Robert Spears-Jennings on a snap count. Grayson Halton probably falls in that same category, Dominic Williams, etc. The key cogs on your defense, the upperclassmen in particular, probably pulling those guys pretty early in the second half. If by the intermission it's clear that you're running away with this thing. But Owen Heineke is a guy that, especially after what he did last week against Michigan, man, folks are going to be so eager to see what that dude can do with a full game's worth of snaps. Here's the crazy thing, Grayson. I don't know if we mentioned this. You know how many snaps Owen Heineke played last week against Michigan?
I do not.
You want to take a guess?
38.
Because that's his jersey number? That's why
not gonna lie, didn't even think of it. Not gonna lie.
He played 23 snaps.
Okay. I thought you were about to give me a bonkers number.
That is a bonkers number in my mind because Oklahoma's defense in total played 59.
That's a fair point.
He played less than half of Oklahoma's defensive snaps. And if you didn't know any better, you would have thought he was there on the field all night.
Like I clearly just almost did.
Like no joke. Because it felt that way.
Exactly.
With his impact on the game over the course of 23 snaps, it makes you wonder, man, if that dude sees 45, 50 snaps, what can he do with it? And he may get the opportunity this weekend against Temple, which will be fun. Boomer Bryce says, looking forward to seeing more Reggie Powers and Okoye more than anyone. Bingo. And those are two guys that I think you would expect will play a lot of snaps against Temple as well. We haven't seen Danny Okoye yet.
No, we have not.
I would think we will this weekend.
But I've been very impressed by Reggie Powers.
He's been great.
I think he's been really good.
He's been great, and it's going to be really, really intriguing to see how they shuffle things when Eli Bowen and Kendall Dolby get back.
Mm-hmm.
Especially that cheetah spot, because Dolby can play the cheetah. He's been really good at the cheetah. But Powers has also been good enough at the cheetah and at strong safety that doesn't really feel like he's going anywhere in that rotation. First world problems. OU's defense has them. That's for darn sure. Bodine from the Osage wants to know, any way Jacob Sexton could get a medical red shirt this year? Yes. So he hasn't taken a red shirt yet, and frankly, it wouldn't matter if he had. If he plays less than 4 regular season games, he will qualify for a medical waiver and be able to come back for another year of college football. So is that what happens? We'll see. But yes, to answer your question, Bodine, yes. Let's see what else we have on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line.
Angry Ronnie asks, so is Heineke going to play more than McKenzie?
Hard to say, man. I guess, if it's – I think where that conversation kind of becomes even more interesting is next week against Auburn.
I agree.
Because snap counts could kind of be all over the place against Temple just because it is Temple. And I would say you're generally looking at those rotation guys, i.e. not starters, but guys that are heavily in the rotation, as the types of dudes that are going to see their most snaps of the season probably in a single game when you get an opponent like this. These are the guys you're going to lean on, especially because you want to know, with Auburn coming to town next week, hey, how much can we really trust a guy like Owen Heineke? How much can we really trust a guy like Reggie Powers? How much can we really trust a guy like Taylor Wine? And so I would think this coaching staff's going to be more willing to give guys like that some extended action against Temple. So will Owen Heineke play more than Kobe McKenzie this week? I would say, yeah, probably so. Because I think on the whole, there's probably a little bit more trust in Kobe McKenzie than there is in Owen Heineke. And Owen Heineke proved a lot this past Saturday against Michigan. I think there's still more that he can and potentially will prove. Does he play more than Kobe McKenzie against Auburn? That's going to be heavily dependent upon how this weekend goes up in Philly. It's where I will be. Lincoln Financial Field, 11 a.m. local time here in the Central Time Zone, here in the state of Oklahoma. Noon on the East Coast. OU at Temple. Sooners looking for their first road victory of the season. And if you don't know, now you know, I will not be on these airwaves tomorrow because I will be on a plane up to the city of brotherly love. So, Mr. Singleton.
Yeah.
I bid you adieu and good luck tomorrow. I assume it will be Tyler McComas joining you on the rush on Locked In.
Well, Tyler, I guess, will already be up there in Philly too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have to figure this one out.
Whatever the case may be, there will be another episode of Locked In coming your way at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I won't be here. Grayson Singleton sure will. And we hope you don't go anywhere for the rest of the afternoon because Tyler and Teddy take over next. The Rush is coming up here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.